No jockey in the British weighing room has a more interesting background than Sean Levey. He was born and raised in Swaziland after his father Mickey, a former Epsom-based apprentice jockey, moved to Africa and met Levey's mother Tiny. As Sean turned 12, the family moved back to Ireland where his father took a job at Ballydoyle, thus setting the path for a young Levey to follow in his footsteps and become a jockey. In 2016, Sean broke new ground by becoming the first black jockey to ride in the Epsom Derby, and 2 years later he recorded a huge slice of history aboard Bilsden Brook in the 1000 Guineas at Newmarket. Sean Levey had become the first black jockey to ride a British Classic winner. Big race victories have continued to flow, with Sean ending last season on a high with victory aboard King of Change in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes on British Champions Day. As the jockey continues to break new ground for black participants in horse racing, I have been to visit him at his home near Herridge to discuss what can be done to promote diversity within the sport. Sean, thanks for welcoming us here to your lovely home today. You've been one of the pioneers for me, and fantastic to see your rise for your career, but we're going to find out where it all came from to start off with, and that was Swaziland. So were you born there?
Yeah, I was born there. I was born there 1988.
And I believe you can speak Swazi.
Yeah, Swazi, lucky enough. My mum obviously can speak it, so if you grow up learning it, it's fairly straightforward.
And there's a story about you and your brother on a bus being able to speak Swazi.
Oh, yeah. And we used to laugh on the way back home. Me and my brother, we used to take our seats in the bus on the way down, and you know, most of the time you'd have whoever obviously was sitting in front of us or behind us would speak in Siswati about us for a degree of the bus trip home. And I used to laugh at my brother about it. We should just sit there and listen to what they were saying, and then obviously I'd either start talking to my brother in Swazi or whatever, which would just give him that little bit of shock that we could understand what they were saying, or I would kindly say something to them on the way out of the bus, and we'd laugh about it on the way home. Yeah.
You'd started riding a bit in Swaziland, and your dad moved the family and your mum teeny back to Ireland.
Come to Ireland, I think at the time he wanted to get back into horse racing, which was obviously his first love, and yeah. So
and the
we all
schooling
moved
in
over.
Ireland, was that? Did you find that very different to Swaziland?
Yeah, not as strict. I was nowhere near as strict. No, it wasn't majorly different as far as the courses and the education went.
But
culturally, yeah, massively different. I'm not going to say anyone was racist against me, and I didn't go home feeling hard done by any day of the week. And I suppose there was just that understanding that, yeah, you were definitely different.
We're moving on to one of your great mentors in your life. So when did you first meet Aiden OBrien?
I met Aiden very young on, when my dad started working for him. I didn't know at the time who he was or what he had accomplished, and for me, racehorses are a totally different breed, and I found it difficult at the start.
And explain the Aiden OBrien team. It is the most amazing support network, isn't it?
No, 100%. Look, there was never a day he wasn't there for me, and I think it reflects on my apprenticeship in general. You know, like I didn't have many rides my first year. He brought me up through the stages when he saw fit, and that obviously helps going forward. As you know, what I mean, he keeps everybody happy. He knows exactly what's needed of his horses and what's wanted of his people, and I think that's a massive importance, really. There's no doubt I got plenty of opportunities. There was a lot more I wanted to get out of racing, in a sense, for myself. I felt as though I had a claim at the time, and I would have liked to utilise it to a certain degree, and I thought the only place I'd do that was in England. You know, give me a chance to grow up feeling as though I had accomplished the person I'd grow into, rather than getting to a point and thinking like most of what you learned is kind of been handed to you, in a sense.
And now we talk about probably the big career-defining move. We arrived at Herridge, not far from here, at Richard Hannon Seniors back then.
Yeah, it was a funny one. Like I said, I was riding out for a lot of people at the time, and Kieran O'Neill was working down here, who I knew obviously from Ireland, and I asked him one day here, I put in a word with the head lad, Tony Gorman, she could have come in and ride out as I was down anyway, and I did. So Lorraine Allison was my agent at the time. I asked her, could she get me rides for Hannon and Haydock, because there was a few floating about, and I then asked, could they look at it as a trial to me finishing my apprenticeship down there, and they agreed, and it worked out.
So Sean Levey, the first black classic winning jockey, and so walking in the weighing room that day, knowing doesn't matter that she's 66-1. You fancied her chances.
Well,
How does it feel? Is it a different day, or you put a bit more pressure on yourself?
Look, there's no doubt. I think everyone out there will say when you're riding a horse 66-1, any big jockey that's out there will say when you're riding a 66-1, riding a Group 1, there is the level of being the underdog, and you're probably not under as much pressure as whoever's riding the favourite or the second favourite or whatever have you. This is probably the best chance I thought I had in the Group 1, and look, it worked out. Like, there was a level of disbelief drawing down to the 2 furlong marker, but like, so be it. She pulled out all the stops and she won it decisively in the end, yeah.
Over in the States, it's interesting in terms of yourself and Royston being really at the forefront of people of colour in terms of riding, but you go to America and there's more people of colour than there are white people in a flat jockey's weighing room. So yeah. What's the difference walking in there? How does it feel?
I don't know. Look, it differs because, yeah, people can make presumptions about me depending on where I am. If I've done something wrong, anyone will pull up to me and just start giving out to me in Spanish. And the amount of times I turn around and I don't speak Spanish, like. And they're like, "Oh, don't you?" I was like, "No, I don't." But like, it's always been the way, like.
How do you think we can get more young kids to make racing or being a jockey an option of BAME ethnicity?
Look, I think it's just getting the information out there. I think ultimately what it is how the information is shared out there to everyone. I think the way you can see that mostly is how women in racing has for me, has made massive steps in the last 5 years alone. There was a time worldwide when it was an issue in every walk of life, and everyone made a massive push. You can see now how that has propelled everyone forward in a degree. Like Josephine Gordon, I know from Prentice, straight after her, Holly Doyle. There's just Dobby. There's so many now. Everyone has the confidence to not only just ride out and stay behind the scenes, but to come forward and do you mean take a chance of being a jockey, which I'd imagine when everyone's riding out at home, and there's a sense to anyone that would think like, geez, I'd love to be a jockey, why not? And like, there's nothing out there saying that you can't, you shouldn't, but like, it's because of that information put out there that has made everyone feel as though they can, which is a great thing.
And throughout your career, do you think it's ever been a hindrance, or has it been a help? I mean, if you look at, I take it as a person of colour that I've seen it as a massive driver of me to prove I'm as good as the next man. Like I say, do you think it's been a help or a hindrance?
I can't say it was a hindrance by any means, because I probably never really looked at it that way. But I always thought it's probably not. It wouldn't benefit me thinking that the reasons I wasn't getting something was because of the colour of my skin, because ultimately that's something I can't change. So I've always kind of looked at it in probably the degree that, look, if I wasn't getting rides, maybe there was something I was doing wrong personally. So I'd go ahead and try and iron those things out, you know. But no, I've never sat there and thought, no, I wasn't getting that right because I was, you know what I mean, because I was black or whatever have you, because like that's not something I can change, and that's not very it's not very constructive thinking, is it?
But in terms of what I've seen over the years I've been in the sport, over 30 years, it is a far more diverse industry that we're working in now, but we need people to move through from stable staff and see a ladder of progression. And do you think there's anything that could help bringing them through?
I'm not sure. I thought initially that giving them the confidence, seeing, say, maybe the likes of me, Sylvester, Royston French, and a lot of other jockeys, like, I mean, seeing us and saying that, look, it's definitely possible. You know, if you want it and you want to work hard enough at it, you'll definitely get there. And there's, you're not going to be stopped by the colour of your skin. So, and there's riding schools out there that are the doors open to them, but I don't know if a lot of people know how open those doors are, you know. And in a lot of situations, I know a lot of people come in and ride out and think that's the end of it. Look, you don't have to be a jockey. There's other things you could do, 100% other things you can do, and there's a lot of support out there to help you get exactly what you want.
How do you think we could increase diversity across the whole base of who follows racing, be it its fans, be it its race goers, be it people who work in the sport?
There's obviously a want for it in the sport. There's obviously a need for it in the sport. There's plenty of intelligent people in this game who can find the right ways of doing it. And all you got to look at is, if you look at Tiger Woods and golf and how that's become as diverse as it is, I think racing can definitely do it.
From a very white beginning golf as well, and then they've got a figurehead such as Tiger.
100%. Like, I don't have to elaborate on what golf was, as far as white people and black people are concerned, but you can see the change it is now, and I think we should probably look at that to see what we can accomplish as well.
How do you feel about the Black Lives Matters movement?
Look, it's obviously it's come on the back of a tragedy, and that's a bit disappointing in a sense, but like, it's happened now, and I think everyone's right in voicing their opinion and what they think about it. And I think there's people probably more well-spoken than I am and have accomplished a lot more than I am that are saying great things about it. Lewis Hamilton's doing great things, Joshua, and a lot of other people. And long may it continue for now. And look, we're all equal in a sense, and I think that's pretty much what everyone's pretty much trying to say.
Asking for equality.
That's exactly it.